Well, hello there, fabulous private practice owner. My name is Gerda, and you are listening to the Private Practice Success Podcast. And this is episode number 20. Yes, we are officially a grown up podcast, having reached episode number 21. Thank you so very much for following and listening. Please know that I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you have been enjoying the podcast, please take a minute, hop on over to the reviews section, leave me a review so that we can spread the word. But without further ado, let's get stuck into today's episode. So this is a really, really important topic that I want to talk about today. In fact, if you are a group practice owner, this is a crucial topic. And this is to understand the difference between being on the receiving end of business consulting versus business coaching versus business mentoring. Because knowing what it is that you need and when you need it will make a significant difference in your practice success, in your own personal growth as the owner and founder, but also, very importantly, on the return on investment that you can expect to receive as a result of the type of service that you will be receiving. The topic for today's episode was actually prompted by a number of conversations I've had over the last 2 to 3 weeks with group practice owners. And this was during what I like to refer to as clarity calls. So whenever somebody reaches out and go, hey, Gerda, I think that I might be interested in working with you, what we do is we hop on a clarity call. And I personally, not a team member of mine, not another coach, I personally hop onto a Zoom chat with that practice owner. And it's called a clarity call because the whole purpose of it is to gain clarity as to whether I can help them. Am I the right person to help them with whatever issue or challenge or goal it is that they have at this point in time in their business? Because I want to make sure that I am the right fit for that person, and I want them to make sure that this is the right fit to work with me. And a lot of times we are a right fit, and sometimes we are not. And then I refer them on to somebody that I think can help them in a better, a more effective way. Because that's what I'm all about. I'm all about doing things as effectively as possible. So, as part of these clarity calls, I obviously have in depth discussions with these practice owners. And it's been really interesting in that there has been a trend that a lot of the people I have spoken to are now talking to me on the back of having done business coaching and mentoring with other business coaches and mentors or consultants. Some of them were allied health specific. Some people have been working just with general business coaches that doesn't have an allied health specific niche or expertise. But it's interesting because they've worked with other people and they are going, okay, we did not receive what we needed in our business, and we are now open to alternatives. And it really started to prompt for me that I should really include this as part of that discussion as a general rule, because over the last 2 to 3 weeks, it's just come up organically in the conversation. But I'm thinking going forward, I really should be asking people during the clarity calls, hey, have you done business coaching? And we'll just use that term for now because it's very general, business coaching previously. And if so, what worked for you and what didn't work for you? And I don't know why I haven't been asking this previously, because as a psychologist, I would always do that when I do an intake session with a client as part of your normal stuff that you go through in session 1. One of the questions that I always asked without fail was, have you seen a psychologist before? If they say yes, I would always ask without fail, Tell me, what did you love about seeing that psychologist? And what did you not like? What is the stuff that really annoyed you or that you found frustrating? And then we really have that in-depth discussion around what did they like about working with their previous clinician? What didn't they like? Some clients might go, it was just way too much homework. Then I make a note. Okay, this person homework ain't going to work that well for them. How can we do it differently? Some people would say it was not structured enough. It's like all the pressure was on me to come up with topics and suggestions. And I go, okay, this person is going to appreciate prompts. So it really then helped me to adjust my approach in session, but also when it comes to out of session homework to fit this client. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not for Gerda to have a comfortable session and to work the way that she wants to work in a session. So it's nice and easy for her. But the goal is, what does Gerda need to do as a psychologist in her approach with this clinical client in order for this client to reach their goals, to improve their symptoms, to achieve the outcomes and the results that they are here to achieve? Because that would be another conversation that I would have with them. I would ask them, so at the end of 6 sessions, when we are going to review your progress, where do you want to be? Why are you here? What is it that we're working on, right? And it is my job to help them get there and to get there in a way that works for the client. And it is really important as a business consultant, coach, and mentor for us also to be able to know what works for our clients and what doesn't. But also for the clients, that is you, the practice owner, to know, what do I need? Okay. Based on my goals, based on where my practice is at, based on my level of private practice development, therefore the stage of my business, what do I need in order to achieve my goals? So that when you go into these conversations with your potential consultant, coach, or mentor, that you know what those answers are, so that you can have those conversations in terms of getting the clarity. Hence, I call my conversations clarity calls, but so that you and the person that you are going to choose to work with will be 100% aligned, will be 100% the right fit for your business. So if you are looking forward to doing a clarity call with me, know that I'm probably going to ask you this question going forward in terms of, you don't have to tell me who you worked with. I'm just going to ask you, have you had business coaching, consulting, or mentoring previously? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Because then I'll be able to tell you whether working with me will be a good match for you and your preferences. So needless to say, that is what we're going to talk about today. I want to really empower you with the knowledge that you are going to need in order to make the right decision for you personally and also for your business. So we're going to start off, therefore, by defining those 3 terms. What is consulting? What is coaching? And what is mentoring within business? We're going to kick it off with looking at consulting. Consulting really involves bringing an expert into your business to provide you with advice and tailored solutions to very specific business challenges that you might be experiencing. So consultants bring with them very specialized knowledge and specialized experience. And that could be across various areas of business functions, whether that is the financial management of your practice, the operational efficiency of your practice, whether it is the marketing strategies within your practice. So a consultant needs that specialized knowledge. Now, if you think about us as allied health businesses, if you are working with a business coach that hasn't worked in allied health, they're not going to have that specialized knowledge in terms of what is the unique regulations around an allied health business when you are registered under APRA, the stuff that you can and can't do. I clearly remember when I started working with my business coach, I was his very first allied health practice that he worked with. So it's not impossible, it is doable, But the first thing that I was advised to do was to get testimonials. And I had to go, I'm not allowed to do that. So there was a lot of education that I had to do of my business coach at that time. I mean, we're talking back in 2012 in terms of going, no, I can't do that. So that strategy won't work for me, which meant that it took a bit longer to get to the outcomes that I wanted, right? Because that person didn't have that specialized knowledge. He most certainly had after working with me, but it just meant that it took a bit more time. So a consultant generally already has that specialized knowledge. So they can really come in and they can solve a very specific problem that you have. So if you think about it from a consulting perspective, if you're going, my cash flow sucks, a consultant can come in, they look underneath the hood and they can go, here's the problems and this is the solution. Let's get this done. Let's get this fixed. That's what a consultant does. Next then is coaching. So coaching is more about guiding you to discover your own solutions and develop your own skills that you need to achieve your goals. So a coach will work with you to identify your personal strengths, your areas of growth, help you set goals around those things, help you set maybe professional milestones, and they then work with you to achieve those things. So a coach doesn't really need that specialized knowledge, right? Because all they need to do is use their coaching skills, ask the right questions to help you to get to the answers that's already within you. So an example of where a business coach can come in really, really handy is, for example, if you're going, all right, I need to work on my leadership skills so that I can better manage my team, so that I can be better at creating the culture that I want, because a lot of time that is your personal leadership skills that you need to work on in that manner. And a coach can be really good to help you achieve those things. And then the third one is the mentoring. So mentoring is a relationship where a more experienced individual shares their knowledge and their wisdom to guide you through your career journey. And in the instance of practice owners, that is your career as a practice owner. So a mentor, they come in and they offer their own personal insights based on their experiences in providing their perspective in terms of things and challenges that they have gone through and how they navigated those challenges. So they are basically sharing their journey with you. For example, if you speak to a mentor who has successfully negotiated a specific challenge in their business, they can say, this is what happened for me. This was all the pitfalls that I experienced. And this is what I recommend you avoid. So, in order to get mentoring, the person you work with needed to have walked this path before you. All right. So, there's a lot of business coaches out there that have never owned an allied health private practice, not even a group private practice, or maybe they did, but it was like 20 years ago. All right. So, the amount of mentoring they can provide is limited because a lot have changed in the last 20 years, even the last 10 years, far out in the last 5 years, a lot have changed. If I just think about how we do contracting in private practice, that has changed in the last 18 months. Huge changes. And unless you have gone through that, it would be really hard to provide mentoring in terms of how to navigate those conversations, for example, when you have to really change entirely the way that you contract within private practice. So that was the broad definitions of it. But in order to make it really easy to remember, this is how, in my mind, I see those three differences. A consultant comes in and they tell you what to do based on their specialized knowledge and experience. A coach comes in and they help you, they facilitate you to decide what you want to do. And a mentor comes in and they tell you what they have done. And then you get to choose whether you want to take that advice, yes or no. So consulting says, this is your problem, this is your solution. Coach says, okay, this is the problem. Let's work together to get to the solution. And the mentor says, this is your problem. This is what I did when I had that problem. Those are the differences in a nutshell between those three services. Okay, so now that we know the differences between the three, how do I know what I need? So I'm going to give you some general input here. Now, obviously, you can need one of the three at various different stages, but from my experience, being a group practice owner myself, having done business consulting, coaching, and mentoring, all three with group private practice owners now in my 11th year of doing it, what I find is, as a general rule, this is when practice owners need each of these three things. We're going to start by looking at your stage of business. And for ease of explaining this, I'm going to focus on three phases of business. The first phase is your startup phase of business. Then we're going to look at the growth phase and then maturity phase. As a general rule, you are in startup if you have between 1 to 5 clinicians within your practice. That is not full-time equivalent. These clinicians might be working one afternoon a week. That is a head count of between 1 to 5 clinicians doing billable work. So this is early stages of your practice, and this is when a business consultant is going to be essential, okay? Because they're going to bring in their specialized expertise to help you establish those very important foundations within your business. The problem is that a lot of people in the startup phase are often cash strapped, and as a result, they don't invest in business consulting. I get it. Quick side note. First and foremost, thank you so very much for listening and hence supporting this podcast. Second, if you are a group practice owner, please know that it is my mission to help you go from overwhelmed, overworked, and most probably underpaid to fully empowered and financially thriving. Helping you build a practice you can't stop smiling about is more than just a tagline in my world. It is what I do. And guess what? You can have it too. So if you know that you want more from your business, if you know that you deserve more from your business, then today is the day I invite you to reach out. In the show notes, you will find a link to a super short triage form. Pop in your details. I will personally go through your responses and will get back to you ASAP to let you know how I can help. And if I can't, I'll point you in the right direction. Don't put your dreams on the back burner any longer. The sooner you start, the sooner I can help you get there. Now back to the episode. I was there once upon a time. I thought, Gerda, if you can do a master's in psychology, you sure as hell can figure out how to start a group private practice. It can't be that hard. Thing is, you don't know what you don't know. And even if you research for hours, there's still going to be things that you don't know because certain things you can only learn through experience. And that's why a consultant is so vital, where they can go, this is what's missing here. Okay, let's get this done. You're going to save yourself money. And a lot of times in the startup phase, we don't just look at return on investment. You also need to look at what is the potential losses that you are incurring because you are choosing not to invest in business consulting. Okay, I can tell you the majority of people that I work with is in the growth stage of their business. And a majority of them didn't invest in business consulting during the startup phase. Then when they come in during growth, then we need to first start with consulting because there's gaps in their business model. There's gaps in their systems, in their processes, in their foundations, in their operations, which means we need to take 2, 3, 4, 5 steps back before they can move forward. So that is that opportunity cost that is now coming into play because they didn't invest when they were in startup phase. And I would always say, yes, I know it's harder potentially to find that money, the cash to invest in business consulting, but it is an investment because if you can do things right from the start, the growth and maturity phase of your business is going to be so freaking easy. All right. So much easier. It's because we don't do that, that growth and maturity is hard. Just how it is. It's not a judgment. I'm just really speaking now to you if you are in that 1 to 5 clinician headcount stage. Now is the time for you to invest in some business consulting to really go, what do I have? Don't I have? What is those foundational pieces that I need to put in place? So let's then talk about the growth phase. So growth phase is when you have between 6 to 10 billable clinicians on your team in terms of a head count. And this is where coaching can be really valuable. And only if you actually had your consulting in startup, now coaching becomes more important because stuff like your leadership skills and team dynamics, it's really important. And a lot of that stuff is reliant on you as the leader and the manager within the business to create that, to create the culture, to look after the team dynamics. So that is a you thing. And that is why business coaching is really important at that point in time. And then when you have 11 plus clinicians in terms of headcount in your team, for the majority of allied health businesses, that is their maturity stage. Not all of them. I'm talking as a general rule here, right? So that is you are more established. And this is where mentoring can be really handy to help you just sustain the success that you have, maybe explore new opportunities because everything else is humming around nicely. Now, if you are going, well, Gerda, that's not my idea of maturity. If you want to grow from there, that's when you will need to again invest in consulting because that is where you start to not grow or build a business. This is where you now start to scale. If you've reached maturity and you want to go to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 billable clinicians as per a headcount of billable clinicians, then you need to scale your business, and business consulting is what you need at that stage. So you go back to consulting. So needless to say, depending on the stage of your business, you are going to need something different. So that is based on business stages. The next thing that you can also look at is the business challenges that you are having at this point. So depending on what it is that you're struggling with, you might require something different. I'm going to give you some examples around this. If you are struggling with specific operational issues, such as inefficient processes, cash flow problems, inability to recruit, those are specific operational challenges. Those are roadblocks that is stopping you from growing your business. That is when you need a consultant. You don't need coaching to help you recruit. No, you need answers to problems. This is where you need a consultant to come in, look at, for example, your recruitment system and saying, yeah, there's the gaps. This is what you need to fix it. Here is a resource. Here's a template. This is how you do it. This is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's get that done. How awesome is that? Hey? I don't know about you, but I will pay good money if somebody can provide me with those type of answers because the return on investment is going to be 10, if not 100 times what it's going to cost me to invest into that business consulting. But I need to say yes to accepting the help. And I think a lot of times that's where practice owners slip up. They don't make the decision to take the help that they need. So operational issues, operational roadblocks, you need a consultant. Next specific challenge is personal development needs. And I've touched on that already a bit. So let's say if you want to work on your communication, on your leadership skills, on team dynamics, that is when a coach is really handy. And that is when you're going to be needing coaching. And then the third specific challenge that you might have is strategic guidance. So if you've reached that maturity phase of your business and you are unsure of what the future direction of your practice needs to look like, that is where a mentor can provide you with some guidance where they can go, yeah, I've been where you were. And, this is what I decided to do. And this is how it turned out. And that could be one potential pathway. And you might want to speak to more than one mentor because there's lots of potential pathways to follow. So mentors can help you make those informed decisions about what do you want to do next as part of your career. The third determining factor to help you decide whether you need a consultant, coach, or mentor is really, what is the goal? What is the goal here? If you are feeling stuck right now in your business and you go, I've had this specific problem, I just cannot get out of it, you need consulting. Coaching is just going to delay the solution. Mentoring, you're going to get one piece of input for how to get unstuck. No, what you want is crisis intervention in your business, and that's where a consultant comes in really handy. If you are in the consolidation phase of your business, that's where coaching and mentoring is going to be handy. People often think that when I'm consolidating, I don't need business support, or when I'm implementing what I've just learned. So maybe you've worked with a consultant, they've gone, okay, you've got this recruitment problem, or you've got this cash flow problem, or you've reached this revenue ceiling in your business. This is the solution. This is what you need to do. Then they go, thank you very much. I'm off. I'm going to go implement. Guess what? That's only 50% of the solution. The solution is the solution. But you know what the hard part is? The implementation. Okay. So you need somebody there for when you get stuck because stuff always happens. It is just life. It is nature. And it's the nature of business. And even more so if you have a service-based business. Product-based businesses, much easier to get the consulting and run with it. Because in a service-based business, there's human beings involved. There's people involved. In our line of business, that is our team, both admin and clinical team members, and the clients that we work with. And if you have a psychology business or mental health related business like myself, it's very vulnerable people that we are working with. So it's even more important for you to ensure that you've got ongoing support whilst implementing, whilst consolidating. Because if you have that support and you are ready for that next stage of business, your growth happens so much faster. You can avoid way more pitfalls. Honestly, I find it incredibly frustrating that particularly my psychology group practice owners think they need to do this all by themselves, put all this pressure on their shoulders and think that I would rather not invest this money because what are they really saying? Like, I don't deserve to get this help and support. It is so frustrating. I just want to shake them and go, you deserve it. You deserve this more than anybody else. Stop keeping the help that you need from yourself because I know how they think. I was once you, once upon a time, until the penny dropped for me, where I went, if I invest in myself and my own support, whether that is consulting, coaching, or mentoring, then I am so much better positioned to help my team, to look after the admin team, to look after the clinicians, to support them, and to look after the clients and therefore the general community, as well as my own family, by investing in my own support. We all know about that story about putting on your freaking oxygen mask yourself first. You tell it to clients, you probably tell it to clinicians, but boy, oh boy, you need to tell it to yourself because you are the one that needs it first. It's only once you have your oxygen mask on that you can help the people around you to put theirs on. So stop with the freaking martyrdom. Stop with saying that you not deserve to have money invested into your own consulting, coaching, mentoring because you do. And now I'm going to get off my soapbox because I've just realized I'm on a soapbox. I'm getting off. Let's get back to normal programming. Where was I? I was talking about specific objectives and goals, and I was talking about getting unstuck, and then I spoke about consolidate. I think you get my gist, right? Okay, the other thing that you want to consider is resource availability. And generally, the resources that comes to mind for a private practice owner is the time that you have and the money that you have. How much time do you have available? If you're going to do coaching and mentoring, you're going to need more time because it's going to take a bit longer. Whereas with a consultant, they're going to come in, tell you what to do, and we can get started with fixing the problem. Also, in terms of budget, generally speaking, consulting is going to attract a higher rate because the return on investment is going to be higher. Generally, again, right? You still need to choose a good consultant. So you really want to think about what is the amount of time and money that you are happy, willing, and able to invest into getting the support that you deserve. And then last but not least is your personal preferences. Just like I said at the start, when I, as a psychologist, ask my clinical clients what they enjoyed about working with their previous psychologist and what they didn't, that was due to their personal preferences. Similarly, as a person entering into a business consulting, coaching, or mentoring relationship, you want to ask yourself, what is your personal preferences? Do you like somebody that is no bullshit, straight to the point, and tells you what they think the solution is? Then you probably need a consultant. Ask yourself, what is your learning style? Do you like to get to the answers yourself? Then you probably need to work with a coach. So, do you prefer that direct advice and solutions, or do you thrive with guidance and self discovery? So, really reflect on how you learn best and what resonates with you. Are you looking for somebody to provide answers, or do you want to get to your own solutions? All of that is going to help you decide what it is that you need. And again, like I said, depending on your business stage, depending on your specific challenges, and depending on your goals and objectives, depending on your resources, you're going to need something different. So, all of these things are going to play a role into what it is that you need at any point in time. I guess what I'm saying is that business consulting versus business coaching versus business mentoring, the one ain't really better than the other. Okay. All three works, but you need to make sure that you have the right support at the right time for your business. For me personally, if I think about my personal preferences, and I've had a business consultant, coach, or mentor now since 2012. I don't even want to think about the amount of money that I've invested in it because that would really seem just crazy. But you know what? It's been worth every dollar that I have invested. And that's the thing. You need to be willing to invest in order to get a return on investment. And my general rule of thumb is that for every dollar I invest, I want to get 10 times that back. If I get more back, amazing, I'm winning. But I want at least 10 times back based on what it is that I invest in my own business consultant, coaches, and mentors. Now, a lot of that return on investment, of course, depends on me following the advice and or implementing the things that I need to implement. And I've also come to learn, therefore, that having that ongoing support during implementation is vital in order to ensure that return on investment. But my personal preference when I work with someone is to get consulting. I want their no holds barred input on my business. I will then put that through my own filter. I will engage in a conversation with them, and then we'll go from there to make that input and advice my own. So that is for me when I'm the client. Now, when I am the business consultant, coach, and mentor, I think my strength lies in consulting. I am really good at looking at a business model and finding the holes. I'm really good at helping people get unstuck. But you know what? I'm similarly good at coaching and mentoring. If you think about it, I'm a clinical psychologist. I am highly skilled at facilitative questioning, at experiential processing, at motivational interviewing, at helping people discover themselves, at helping people engage in personal development, all of that nice stuff. So I'm really good at coaching and I do that really well. And I'm also really good at mentoring because I still have my own group private practices. I've got skin in the game. So I am still walking the walk. I don't just talk the talk of consulting, I also walk the walk of being a group private practice owner. So I think I am really fortunate in that when I work with practice owners, I can offer them what it is that they need. Just like it is my goal to offer my clinical clients as a psychologist what they need in order to get to their goals and the outcomes that they want from therapy, I do the same with my business clients. I can go, what does this practice owner need right now? Do they need consulting because they are in crisis and we need to solve this crisis for them? Or do they need coaching? Are we going to work on their team dynamics, on their leadership skills, into better boundary setting with their team, into really stepping into being that leader, that founder, painting that brightness of future? And how do we communicate that with the team? How do we find that confidence to do that and the competencies that go with it? I think I'm really great at doing that as a result of my clinical background. And I can do the same in terms of mentoring and going, this is what I did when I was where you were. This was my process. This is the mistakes that I made. And guess what? I feel like, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like I have made every freaking mistake in the book in my learning. So I can mentor you and go, you need to look out for this. And based on where you're at now, this is what could go wrong because that went wrong for me. So I can bring in that mentoring as well. And therefore, I'm very proud of what I've created in my private practice success academy because I'm in there as the main business consultant. I've got two other allied health private practice coaches in there that does amazing work with the ongoing coaching. And both myself and those two coaches who still have their own group private practices can provide mentoring. And the amazing thing is when you are in a program like the PPS Academy, is you get mentoring not only from myself and Tiny Michelle, but you also get it from the other amazing group private practices that's there with you. Because when you are in a group program like that, there's always somebody else that's two steps in front of you that you can learn from. And there's always somebody two steps behind you that you can help and empower. And it feels really good being able to help and empower a fellow practice owner just through that ad hoc mentoring, going, I've been there. Last year, this time, that was me. This is what I did. You've got this. And that is the beauty of the PPS Academy, where we can offer all three things to an extremely high quality and high standard, and based upon what each person needs. So, whether it is consulting, whether it is coaching, whether it is mentoring, you get everything you need in the one container. So, I do hope that this discussion has been helpful. If you are currently engaged with another business consultant, coach, or mentor, I hope that this discussion is going to encourage you to reflect on, hey, what do I need? And then I'm going to encourage you to go back to that person and communicate with them what it is that you need from them right now. Don't jump ship. Don't go, that's it. They're not giving me what I want. Communication is extremely important. Go and communicate to them. Tell them what your needs are, what you want to work on going forward, and make sure that you get that return on investment from the person that you are working with right now. If you do not have a business consultant, coach, or mentor working with you at the moment, why not? I honestly think it is absolutely crazy to try and run a business without that support. And I say that with a lot of love and respect. If I could go back to the day I started my business back in 2007, it would be to right on day one have somebody walking that path by my side. Why do it by yourself? It is just ludicrous. Why do you want to make life so hard for yourself? I I know why we do it. I did it for freaking 5 years. It was only 2012 that I actually went, I can't do this anymore. I need help. And that was rock bottom for me. Please do not wait for rock bottom. Rock bottom is not a pleasant place. It's a shitty place to be at. And for some reason, you might hear this, you might still not take action. And maybe you're like me and you have to reach rock bottom before you're going to go, I'm drowning. I need help. And if you're drowning and you need help, please reach out to me. This is what I do. Hop into the show notes of today's episode. There's a link to my triage form. Complete that form. It's going to take you 2 minutes to complete that form. I will receive it personally. Me, Gerda, goes through your responses. I will then email you back. If based on your responses, I think that I can help, step 2 will be to jump onto a clarity call, which is that Zoom chat that you'll have with me. Not 10 minutes, not 20 minutes. I make available 45 minutes to speak to you. Because if we take that step, I don't want to waste your time. I want to make sure that I can actually have that conversation and talk to you about where you're at, what your goals are, what your roadblocks are, what your challenges are, talk to you about how I can help. If I can, I will tell you how. If I can't, I will point you in the right direction. Okay, it's going to be potentially 45 minutes of your time. Why not invest that to just explore whether you want to take that step? I think once you've experienced business consulting, coaching, and mentoring, it's really hard to go back, not to have it, because it is such a vital support. All right, I'm going to leave it at that for today. I truly hope that this was of help, and I truly hope that this is going to motivate you to seek out the support that's going to help you have an amazing business. So thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, remember that I am here to help you build a practice you can't stop smiling about.